So I'm sitting around yesterday and just, kind of trying to entertain myself. And it occurs to me that I am missing a bit of live sports. Like, this is a time of year when, like, I don't typically watch that much basketball, but, like, man, there should be, an NCAA tournament going on. And I might even watch a little bit of NBA. And so I find myself YouTubing some things, and realizing that, there's an opportunity right now. Like, there's nothing, live sports on, but we live in this YouTube era where there's like all this stuff you can consume, and I found myself longing for what I feel like are the golden eras of, particularly the golden era of the NBA. The NBA right now is hot garbage, terrible, unwatchable, in my opinion. So I get to watching some, you get the typical, you click on something, you get the YouTube rabbit hole or whatever. So I wanted to throw an idea out there to you, those of you that are missing live sports, my sports fans out there. Go check out some stuff that you haven't seen. I think that there's probably, again, I'm talking to you teenagers that maybe didn't see some of these guys play. There are some athletes that you got to go watch to understand. So first, we're talking about the NBA. If you don't know about Michael Jordan, everything he does is so entertaining. There's not another athlete on the planet, in my opinion, that had as much control not only over himself and his own body, but control over whatever he was going to make his opponents do. I watched something, and my team at the time was the Miami Heat. They were okay. They get into playoff series and get destroyed by Jordan's Bulls. In I believe it was '92. And that was really like the heyday. And Steve Smith, who was on that team, who played a long time, real good shooter, good, pretty good to very good NBA player at times. And he tells this anecdote that Jordan starts a game with him and, pulls up, hits a shot, and goes 38. And then he comes back down the court, and, Steve Smith's saying, what is he talking about? And he pulls up and hits another shot, and he goes 36. And, as time goes on, Smith starts to realize, like, this guy's counting down to 40. He said at the beginning of the game to himself, like, I'm going to put 40 on this fool. I'm going to count it down in his face. And sure enough, he scores 40 points and the Bulls win. That's what Michael Jordan did. So go watch the Michael Jordan stories. A pretty great trash talker in addition to the fact that he was the best offensive player and the best defensive player in the league, bar none, and for a long stretch. So go watch some Michael Jordan. Man, it is so enjoyable to watch, especially if you kind of read into some of the stories. The other NBA player that you have to watch that maybe a lot of younger folks haven't, Larry Bird. Larry Bird is the best shooter of all time. No one shot the ball better than him. I think that what the way you would compare Bird and Jordan was a greater athlete than Bird, but Bird was a better basketball player in terms of you can put him in any situation and he will he will make a shot in any situation. I would say that if you had to win a game, if you had to win any game, you needed a shot to win a game, then Jordan takes that shot. If you needed a shot to save your life, Larry Bird's your guy. Larry Bird, when the time has come, he can't miss. So go watch some Larry Bird. It was just incredible. Some of the things that he perpetrated are just, they're mind-boggling. And in addition to that, Larry Bird might be the greatest trash talker in the history of the league. He was, I think, maybe one of the best cases of somebody that just went, hey guys, here's what I'm gonna do, and he would tell you exactly. If you look for Larry Bird stories on the internet, there's a bunch of people going like, yeah, Larry said, hey guys, I'm gonna catch the ball at that spot, I'm going to roll here. I'm going to take a shot in the corner. I'm going to make it. We're going to go home. That'll be game over. And they looked at him. They listened to him do it. Then they watched the play unfold, watched him do exactly what he was going to do, make a shot, end the game. He was that guy that it didn't matter what you thought he was going to do. Didn't matter what your ability were. He was going to beat you. And Jordan and Bird are two guys that they're great. They're greater than anybody else, in my opinion, because they had this knack for whatever you were going to do, they were going to do it better. Whatever the as the stakes got higher, they got better. They were more bent on destroying their opponents than they were on, what the game plan was. So in guys like that, when the stage is big, they do the greatest things, and their number one objective is to destroy you. And so if you went up against those guys, and if you listen to the stories of all those, great players that played against them, they're like, I mouthed off to Michael, I mouthed off to Larry one time. It was the biggest mistake of my life, and I got destroyed for it. And a lot of guys, particularly with Jordan, a lot of guys that mouthed off, he didn't just set out to destroy him once. It's like, all right, that's it. You're done. Your career's over as far as standing in front of me, because I'm going to dismantle you over and over and over. I'm going to break you down. And so go check those guys out. Man, they're so entertaining. And the NBA was so great at that time in the 80s and 90s, far better than it is today. And what you'll also see is a great physicality. If you want to see some entertaining series where guys are just beating on each other and playing physical basketball, and do yourself a favor and go watch the Bad Boys 30 for 30. This was when the Pistons were they were great. They had finally gotten over the hump, and they thought, okay, it's our time now. The Celtics and the Lakers, they're done for a while, and we're the dynasty. And they came up against Michael Jordan, and they beat him the first couple of times. And when Jordan was really coming close to coming into his own, he was right there. It was like, this guy's the best, but he can't get that team over the hump. And the Pistons. The Pistons Jordan rules is one of the great stories in NBA history, where they're basically just like, all right, nobody on this team can beat us except for Michael Jordan. Beat him up. Harass him every time that he gets the ball. Punch him, foul him, kick him, throw. He needs to end up on the ground, and they were successful in doing that. And even Jordan himself credits the Pistons just beating the life out of him for what he ultimately became. He's like, all right, I knew I had to be bigger, faster, stronger. That was, that again, in true Jordan fashion, it's like, oh, here's the challenge, I've got to beat it. So, go check that out. That Bad Boys 30 for 30 is just so good. And then, I'm more of an NFL fan, and I was again looking at just watching some videos and stuff. Do yourself a favor. Maybe my favorite athlete of all time, Barry Sanders. I'm not a Detroit Lions fan. I'm a Dolphins fan, but there's a lot of sadness in my life because of that. But Barry Sanders is just something to watch. If you watch the 100 best runs from Barry Sanders, you'll have seen the 100 greatest runs in NFL history. The guy is unbelievable. Again, you're talking about an athlete that had complete control not only of his own body, but what everybody else was doing. Man, that he could routinely make 15 defenders look stupid. He'd juke everybody on the team and half of them twice. And just did some amazing things. And all the while on a team that was like only at best marginally successful. Barry Sanders is a joy to watch. Go watch some Barry Sanders highlights because the guy's just great. And a guy we didn't get to see enough of, Bo Jackson. If you have not seen Bo Jackson, in my opinion, is the greatest human athlete of all time. There's nobody that had the combination of athletic ability that he had. Nobody could touch the guy until he got hurt. And unfortunately, he suffered an injury that was really bad, and he was able to overcome it for a short run, and they didn't believe him. And unfortunately, at the time, that meant that he had an injury that went untreated, and they didn't have surgery that was good enough at the time. So we don't get to see Bo Jackson's career play out. But the guy was phenomenal, and he if you watch again another 30 for 30, go watch the Bo. I think it's called You Don't Know Bo is the Bo Jackson 30 for 30, and Bo is incredible because there was all this like mythology around him. He's for what it's worth, Bo Jackson and Barry Sanders. What got me started on this is somebody going, "Oh, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush is the greatest college running back of all time," which is patently idiotic. And so, of course, there's backlash. Some idiot posted this on the internet. Reggie Bush is not even the best USC running back of all time by any stretch of the imagination. Marcus Allen and O.J. Simpson are both better than him, but everybody goes, hey, what about Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, and Barry Sanders? Barry Sanders and Bo are just, they're ridiculous. What Barry Sanders did at Oklahoma State for that last year there was stupid. It was crazy. He averaged over 200 yards a game and was incredible. But Bo Jackson he was just more everything than everybody else on the field. He was faster. He was stronger. He was, for a running back, I'll say bigger. I mean, he wasn't bigger than a lot of defensive linemen, but probably maybe one of the most famous plays in his career is when he was playing for the Raiders against the Seahawks, and Brian Bosworth, who was this kind of larger than life, mullet sporting, animal out of Oklahoma, and Bo completely obliterated him on Monday Night Football and essentially kind of ended the mythology of the Boz. But that guy, man, he was drafted by the Bucks, who kind of betrayed him in the process, and this is all in the 30 for 30. But he was like, screw it, I'm going to go play baseball. And he was pretty quickly a great baseball hitter. But eventually, the Bucks trade him, and the Raiders come calling and say, hey, come on out and play. And it was another little bit in the 30 for 30. Some of these Raider guys are like, who does this guy think he is? He can play baseball, take the first couple weeks, not come to training camp, and just show up and play. And like, we got Marcus Allen on this team. And then Bo Jackson walks into the building and gets on the field, and it took about 9 seconds, and all those guys are like, oh no, this guy's that good. Like, this guy is something we've never seen before. And yeah, he can play whenever he feels like it. And just, man, such a natural athlete. And it is so sad that he busted up his hip, and his NFL career was cut short, because he is probably the greatest running back of all time if he's able to play, 12 to 15 years, and Barry Sanders kind of the same thing. Is he retired fairly early. He should be the rushing champ. He's he is in that same conversation with Walter Payton as far as guys. And I didn't mention Walter Payton in this video because I didn't watch him play. But he's right there, and that sort of talent ability level. Barry Sanders should be the all-time yardage leader, but he didn't play as long, and Emmitt Smith played for a long time. Emmitt Smith, no hate. Well, I have a little bit of hate for Emmitt Smith. He's a Gator. I'm not big on Gators, but his record is more a testament to he played for a great team, and that really is an effort of like how dominant the Cowboys were as a run team. But no, do yourself a favor, go watch those guys. Another guy kind of came to mind that maybe you don't know about because, again, his career ended early tragically. He died in an off season. But Derek Thomas, that guy, he was an animal. You've never seen. Derek Thomas was every bit the athlete and kind of the ferocious presence that Lawrence Taylor was. And again, another guy, if you haven't seen, Lawrence Taylor really is the pinnacle of that just crazed animal all playing on a football field. So go watch some LT. And again, great stories with Lawrence Taylor. You know, as much a great character as he was a great player. Um, it's all a bit risque, you know. If you know about LT's off the field stuff, he had some issues. But yeah, if you're jonesing for some sports, go check those guys out. You won't be disappointed, you know, if you go down the YouTube rabbit hole, or you know. And again, particularly with the basketball guys, go watch some of, like, go check out some of those games. Go watch Michael destroy the Trailblazers in the finals. Um, Go watch the flu game. Michael famously has the flu, and then comes out and just plays one of the most incredible games in NBA history. So you know, there's just so much every time that guy steps on the floor. Go watch those games. Go check them out if you're jonesing for some live sports, and there are none to be found. There's some really great stuff out there. So I hope you guys are staying healthy and safe, and staying. I'm trying to give you. I do these videos to try to feed you something like, hey, go check something out to try to stave off the boredom and insanity. And you know, I'm gonna try to get away. I'm finding myself in a healthier and healthier state as far as my mental health, because I'm just trying to, you know, do some things. I'm using this as an opportunity to do a few things. Also, check out my album club video. I think probably on Friday I'll post something, but probably on Friday I'm going to go and review that, and I might even do a session, like a live session, if anybody wants to join. So go check out that Doors album. I've been listening to it at various times. I listened to it on my morning walk, which, by the way, today it is 60 degrees and glorious out. You know, if you are getting a little stir crazy, just go walk outside, you know, at 6, 10, 12, 20 feet away from anybody else. But, you know, man, it is glorious today. So hopefully you guys will find something. You know, I'm trying to find things to keep me sane and mentally healthy, as well as making sure that I don't come in contact with the SARS-CoV-2, or as I've been calling it, SARS-2 Electric Boogaloo. So stay good, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.